Everybody, it is Tuesday. It is May 30th, and this is, I think, live stream number 7. Hope everybody in the United States had a lovely Memorial Day, and I also know that if you were in the UK, I believe it was the bank holiday you had. I don't know if anybody else around the world had a day off yesterday, Monday, but it was just beautiful. Beautiful weather here in upstate New York. I have the window open, so if you hear the birds singing, that's why, or the big garbage truck driving by. I don't know. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to jumping in here on this live stream today. Today we're going to talk about getting a handle of your projects, and then I also just quickly want to show you Fusion Team, because you might not be aware of that there's something like that. This is not really going to be a sales pitch. I just wanted to kind of like make you aware of it. So we're going to try to keep this kind of short, 20 minutes, a half an hour or something like that. And just kind of like want to give you an insight on the projects and how that works. So this was a request that I got from Friday's live stream. Last Friday we talked a little bit about sketching, and we talked about I kind of like how I would attack a car rim. This Tuesday, this one here, we're going to talk a little bit about projects and how that kind of works inside of Fusion 360. If there's something that you want me to do in these live streams, you should send me an email. Now, if you're on the live stream, and I can see we already got some people in there. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to join in. I really appreciate it. Next time you come to upstate New York, I need to buy you a beer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my email in the chat of the live stream. So now you have it. And send me an email if there's something you would like me to do on... I'm just going to make sure I spell my last name right. Stupid long last name. Shoot me an email if there's something you would like me to do on the live stream, because the chat inside of the live stream, I don't get that afterwards. It kind of like disappears when I'm done with the live stream, so I can't capture anything in there. So don't put it in there. If you're watching the recording, because YouTube is awesome, this is also being recorded, my email address will be down in the description area down there. So check that out. Send me an email if there's something you would like me to kind of like dig into here on the live stream. And again, it's being recorded, so if you cannot make it, don't worry. It's going to be up on the channel. Just subscribe to it, and you will get it up there. All right, I can see we already got some people in here. Greetings from Romania. From Pittsburgh. Well, if you go here, if you come up to the upstate New York, I'll definitely buy you a beer for sure. So let's jump into talking a little bit about how to handle your projects. I will get back to the chat a little bit later here. And kind of just want to show you a couple of things that I want to make sure that everybody kind of like is aware of. So, get my mouse working here. So now we are inside of Fusion 360. Here's this mold that I'm working on the video. It became a bigger project than I really thought it was going to be. But the video is almost done. So you get this plastic injection mold that I created. And I also make sure you get the file and everything like that. But what I want to talk about today is this project scenario you have over here on the left, and kind of like how that works. And by the way, you can hide it or show it on the data panel up here. I hope that most people know that. A couple of things that I think is important to know is, first of all, there's a filter down here that I know that where you can search for things. That's really nice to know. It's easy to kind of like oversee, right? That you can start type things in here, whatever you want, and it kind of like starts filtering down. So that's kind of nice. Also, like to point out, a lot of people have told me that they use this my recent data a lot in here when they're trying to find things in here. So if you can click on that, you kind of like get the recent files you've been looking at. That's kind of nice. And if you ever click on this gear icon, you can either show it as a grid or as a list. I kind of like flip back and forth depending on what day it is. I can't really make up my mind what I want. So that's a recent data. That's always at the top. Good to know. Also, you can pin and unpin projects. So this can be really, really nice when you're working in here. So if there's certain projects you're always getting into, then just pin or unpin. And then you also get a option in here where you can actually see the one with the little silhouette of a face here is projects that I have been invited to. So other people invite you to a project, you can choose to leave it. And I actually, I do that from time to time. I kind of like go in and clean this up a little because it gets a little crazy. You can always go out to the online portion on the web here. I'm not quite sure exactly what the right terminology is in an Autodesk world. We used to call it A360, and it is kind of like built in A360, but I think that this is kind of like called more like a Fusion on the cloud or something like that. But what you will see here is all the same things you just saw in my panel. What I like about this is, first of all, you can kind of pretty quickly filter on the top here. So projects that's owned by me, projects that is shared by me. So this is many times where I will go in here and kind of like, is this projects I want to be part of, or maybe leave them. You can do the ones that you have pinned. That can be nice too. And then you can archive projects. So if I go back into Fusion in here, you have the option in here to right click and you can archive a project. And if you archive it, what pretty much happens is that it goes into your archived folder in here. And then in here, you can actually either restore them or you can delete them out. I pretty much I haven't deleted anything because I haven't run into a space issue yet. So I'm lazy like that. Might as well just keep on it, right? But so this is, I think, is nice to know that you kind of like have this space here. And it works somewhat, if you haven't played around with this, I think you should go out here. And again, you just do that from up here. You click on your name up on top, and that will take you out to this area out here. Now, another thing that I like to show people is you will see that in mine here, I have icons in here, and I really like this a lot. You can see this one here, the one that is called Lars, doesn't have any. There's that triangle. I like the icons because it's quicker for me to find them like that, to be honest. So to do that, you have to be out on the cloud portion, so click your name. And then what happens if you say up here, create new project. Oops, I clicked a little quick. Up here, create new project. If you click on that, then you will see there's already some stock images in here. But then you can upload your own. So if you click here, it will actually take you out and you can kind of like place some kind of a banner out here. I created one called customer. So I can click on that little image. It's just the image I stole online. And then I can call it something like customer, create project, and you will now see that that project is getting created in here, owned by me. That will get in here if it's not already. I might just have to update. There we go. So that will mean that in here somewhere, it better, owned by me. Oh, there it is. In here is that project in here now called customer. Now there's nothing in it, but if we go back into Fusion and I refresh up here, you will see that that project is going to become available here. Now I have that little icon on it. I just find that a lot easier to deal with. Now, what I think that the person kind of like wanted to talk about was a little bit of a confusion about moving files around inside of these different projects, and that's actually why I opened up the mold here. So if we go to this mold folder, I'm just going to open it up. You will see that here is the plastic injection mold, the one you see on the screen here. Now you will see that there is a bunch of link items inside of here. Well, a bunch. There's a handful of linked items in here. And I actually placed all those in a hardware folder in here. So, I mean, you can create new folders in here. If you haven't really played around, definitely just poke around in here and see what's going on in here. But what happens is that if I want to move this project to somewhere else, so if I click on this, if I right click on this project, you get different options. One of them is move or copy. What you will see happens is if I, for example, say I want to move it, is that the project will only let me move within, or this file would only let me move within this project. And the reason for that is because it has linked components. All this hardware is linked to this mold, and Fusion, and if you ever watch I created a video about components and how they kind of like reacts. Definitely maybe want to check that video out. It's really a kind of like a Fusion thing on how are we going to manage linked components. If you have ever worked with other software like Inventor or maybe SolidWorks, you kind of like know you can kind of like do kind of like a pack and go kind of thing, and you can choose if you want to link, if you want to keep the references and not the references. And quite honestly, many times it become like a huge nightmare where if you start moving this, if we move this mold and then the reference are broken because some of the components inside of this mold, some of these link components, if they suddenly are deleted or something, then things starts blowing up for this copied mold. So Fusion does that a little bit different. Let me show you. So if we go back in here, you'll see that I can only move this mold within its own project because it has these linked components. Versus if I, for example, go out here and let's find something else that I know is not linked. So this part here, for example, I did for some 3D machining. If I go in and I say I want to move that one, because there's no link component to that one, then I actually get all the different projects over here to the left. So now I can just move this one to any other project because it's not linked. So I think that there's a little bit maybe a confusion about that. Now you can move the mold if you want to. It's not that you can't do it, but it just takes a few steps. So what you got to do if you ever want to move, let's go back up. If we ever want to move this mold, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to that project on the web. So I clicked up on top of the project. That will take me out to Fusion out here. And here you will see we have this plastic injection mold. If I go over here and I say I want to download it as a Fusion archive, now when I do this, it's going to ask me for a, well, I have it attached to my email here. So it's going to throw it right to the email that I put right on top of the chat if you're sitting here watching live. And then I can download it to my downloads folder on my machine, and then I can go to the folder I want to bring it into. So let's say I wanted to move that mold over to just another project to the conduit mold would maybe make much sense. But if I want to move the mold in here, now I can actually just go and hit the upload button, and I can go out to my download folder and I can bring it up there. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So you go in, if you have a part like the mold here that is that has a bunch of link components, it will not let you move it to another project. As we're staying within the same project, go up and click on the name of the project. That will take you out to the web. And then when you're out here, then you can download it. That's going to download as a Fusion archive. That's going to send a link to your email that will bring it down to your downloads folder on your machine. And then inside of Fusion, you can go to whatever project you want, and you can use the upload folder for that. So pretty much what that does when you do it to the Fusion 360 archive folder is it kind of like packs everything up. So when you bring it there, you're gonna get it all the components, and it's gonna make sure that you don't kind of break that length. I don't know if they're I don't know if they're working on a better path to do this, but I think that it was very how to say it. It was a high priority for the Fusion developers when they did Fusion to make sure that you cannot run into this broken link scenario, because anybody who've ever dealt with that in the past know that's the worst, right? When you open up a customer's file and you can't, if things are missing, and now you have no idea where they are, and things are broken, and just a huge nightmare. Now, another thing I wanted to show while I'm in here is if you ever wanted to share a project with somebody, if you right-click on the project, you get an option to share a public link. And if you click on that, then in here, you can actually choose to share that link. You get a link here that you can copy to your clipboard. You can paste it into an email, something like that. Also, be aware of you can actually password protect it right down here. And now maybe did I crash things? Ha 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 ha. Or maybe not. Came back. Good job, Fusion. So you can actually password protect the part if you want to. Now, one thing I wanted to do here, one of the quick things I want to show you here, just to make sure I don't run too long, and I also want to get to some of you guys' questions, so put them in there. Two things I want to show you. I want to show you how I used to handle customers' folder structure. I guess I'm not sure maybe not the best way, but that's how I did it. So experiment with your own, and if any of you have any better ways to do it, definitely put in the comment area of when the video is uploaded. So I want to show you how I used to do it, and then also I want to show you Fusion Team, because some of you guys maybe don't know about Fusion Team. It's kind of like an add-on. I'm not quite sure if it's fully blown out or if they're still kind of like doing beta testing with it. If you're interested, send me an email and I'll get you more information on it. Like I said, this is not really my sales pitch on it. I just want to kind of like show you that it exists. If you just jumped into the live chat, my email is at the top of the live chat box, lars.christensen@autodesk.com. If you're watching the recording, it's down in the description area. Hit me up in an email if you want to know more about Fusion Team. What Fusion Team really is more for, I would say, a company, because when you created your Fusion 360 account, all the stuff you see out in the data panel is associated to your Autodesk login. What that means is that if I go over on your computer and I log in on your computer, then I will get that data panel with all my files in it. And if you logged in on my computer, you will see all your files in it. It follows all those files you see in there, they follow your login. Well, if you're a company, then that's not really necessarily the best thing, that everybody's kind of like working on their own little, their own little thing. Most of the times you bring your customer files in, you kind of like want it somewhere where everybody can kind of like access it. That's where Fusion Team comes in. So it lets you kind of like create a project admin and for the company, and then you can add editors and you can add viewers in there, so they can do that. It looks pretty much the same as what you already have seen, what you're familiar with inside of Fusion 360, but it just gives you that option, that you as a company has the control of all the data, and then if somebody, for example, decides to leave the company, that you can kind of like push them out and put them in. So let me show you that. So in here you can switch between the different hubs if you have the different hubs. So in here, right now in my Lars Christensen, that's the default one. That is my Fusion sign-up. That was the one I got when I signed up with Fusion 360. And all the stuff that is inside of that data panel, that is yours to keep, right? I mean, that's kind of like specific, like I said, is to your login. So that's kind of yours. But then you can also be part of these different teams, and you can switch right in here inside of Fusion to the different ones. So you see, I actually have a Lars Christensen team, what is a little confusing. But I also have a couple of other ones. The HSM team has one. There's one called Autodesk Cam in here. So I can just switch around. So if I go over, I'm just going to switch to the HSM team here. And I'm not going to save my mold. And what you will see is that my data panel is actually going to update, because that's really what switches, right? I'm now on another team in here. You can also switch to them via your data panel out here on the web. That's pretty, another way you can do it. If I go over and click on my icon over here, you will see that here's the default. That's my hub. That's the one that we've been working in so far. So there you will see all the icons you saw before. And then there is the team. Mine is called Team Lars Christensen. So this is the team hub where you can go like almost like a company, and you can look at things. The biggest thing in here is that you get, like I said before, you get like admin rights in here. So if I say I want to create a new project, I'm going to call it test 1. And then, well, I probably didn't have to create test 1, but if I go in here, I can of course create the folder structure in here, but you will see in here I can invite people to this. And when I invite people, put in their email address. So put in an email address. Here, you can choose if they are an editor or a viewer to the project. So this is more, like I said, it's more like a company kind of thing, where you can set that up. I did pull up the web page. It's called Fusion Team at Autodesk. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure if it's full blown yet. I know that a few months ago they were looking for some beta users for it, where you could sign up, you can kind of like play around with it. If you go to the pricing page, because that's probably what most people are looking at right now, you can get a 30-day trial where you can set things up. After that, it is a $15 a month per user, or $120 per month per user. So if you pay for a year, then it's $10 a month per user to be in kind of like this company-controlled hub. All right. What I wanted to show you here that maybe some of you guys can find helpful is how I used to do my folder structure for my customers. Because if you go in and you look at my personal hub in here, yours might look somewhat like mine is. What is just a bunch of different projects kind of like thrown in here, and you're constantly looking for things. Well, the way I used to do it was I used to create a folder called holding, and inside of that one, if I click on that one, you will see that I have all my customers that I'm working for. So that's the first folder within holding. So there's all the different company names. And if I click on one of the company names, Globex, I believe that comes out of The Simpsons, then I have their part numbers. And the reason I always had customer and then their part numbers is really because that whenever a customer calls you and they want an update on the project you're working on or whatever it is, they always refer to their part number, right? We had a tendency in the company I worked in, we kind of like created our own part numbers, but you can't have that as the first one, because if you do that, and especially if you're running like multiple shifts and the customer calls, at 7 o'clock at night, and there's the B shift supervisor who has to go in there, that can be confusing. So always do it by the customers' part numbers, and then after that, I would do it by revisions that we were working on, just so I always knew which one was the latest revision we were working on. And then in there, you can have the Fusion file. Now I did this in the Team Hub, but honestly, this is the same way I would do it inside of standard Fusion. Actually, what I might even just do it within Fusion, because you can do that. If I click here on customer, I called it holding before, but now I can say I create a new folder here, and that could be my customer in here, and I will create my different customers folders in here. Whoops. Right, so I have the different folder structures in here, and then within those I would create a folder for whatever part number and so forth. That's really how I found that it worked the best to search things. Also, just be aware of also one thing in this team. If you go in here to the view and manage members, this is where in here you can invite more people also, and you can set their roles. You can have, there's a calendar in here, so you can actually put due dates in here, which is kind of nice, and also discussions. Right, we can communicate through this environment. Also, if just in case you have not been on the web here, just be aware of that. If you click on your file and you open it up here, and this, by the way, goes for anybody. This runs right in the web browser. You actually get the viewer right here in the web browser. So if you send this link to a customer, the link I did before. So if we go back into the file in here, if I send you this public link, and your customer don't have Fusion, they first will get it in this viewer here, and this viewer will actually let you. So this runs right in the web browser. You don't have to download something, anything like that. And you can actually go in here, and you, just so you know, you can actually go in and you can measure distances and get that kind of information in here. You can also do, like section views in here. So just so you know that you can do this. So this is a nice way to kind of like send that to customers, just like this here. There's different functions in here that I definitely think you should experiment with if you haven't already taken a look at this. All right, guys, I'm just gonna that was kind of like what I planned on showing. Let me just take a quick look here to see if anybody have added anything that I should have covered in this little thing. Like I said, I just really wanted to give a quick overview of kind of like projects and how I work with projects, and kind of like how that works in there. So I hope this is helpful. All right, let's see here. Seth is in here. Good morning to you, Seth. Again, my email address is at the top of the live chat. So if there's anything you would like me to talk about in these live streams, go ahead and do that. Just send me an email. And also, if you're watching a recording of this, then it will be in the description area. Just send me an email what you would like to see. I'm not going to do anything crazy. We got people from South Africa. Oh my goodness. Well, dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in here. All right. Somebody wants access to my beer brewing machine. Adam, that's actually not mine. That's a colleague's of mine. I'm sorry, I probably can't share that one. Well, shoot me an email, Adam, and I'll see what I can do. Where can we find that example projects? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there, Eddie. All right. One thing I wanted to show that I should have shown that I forgot to show. If we go back into Fusion here, be aware of that down in the bottom, you're talking about example projects. Down here in the bottom, there is there is the sample libraries down here, where there's that the Fusion team are constantly putting things in here. Actually, if I go into the CAM sample folder in here, you will see that the CAM team have put all different kinds of things in here, including work holding. So if you're looking for like vices or clamping and things like that, that's in here. Fifth axis work holding is in here. And that's down at the bottom of your tree down here. If you scroll all the way down, you will see that. Now, if you don't see the assets libraries, that has to do with, right now it has to do with the CAM tool libraries. So if you go over to the CAM tab in your preferences, you can enable cloud libraries. That's where I got, so that's up in your preferences up here. That's where I got that one from. All right, if you have anything you would like me to do, definitely make sure that you send me an email with what you would like to see, and I'll definitely be more than happy to take a look at it, and we can throw it up here on the live stream. So lars.christensen@autodesk.com. It is in the top of the live chat. It is in the description of the recorded video if you are catching this in delay, and that's fine. There, if you just jumped in on the live stream, we got about 40 people in here right now. If you just jumped in, don't worry. This will be up on YouTube as soon as YouTube kind of like get it processed. But I hope that this was kind of helpful. The reason why you cannot move projects that is linked, or that I showed you the way around that, like kind of like round tripping it, and some of the other functions that are in there. If you got any questions or any comments, leave them down in the comments area of the recorded video. Shoot me an email or anything you would like to see in the next project. I can see we got a couple of ones in here. Some of them are CAM related. That's definitely something that we could do something about. What I'm going to do right now is, as I've done before, I am going to stop broadcasting. So I want to thank you, everybody who's watching this. But I'm going to be in the chat for a few minutes and just make sure that I answer any questions that is in there. So thank you so much for taking the time to join this live chat on this Tuesday. I hope that you had an awesome weekend. If you had a long one, I hope that you enjoyed the long weekend. It was beautiful weather here in upstate New York. And until the next time, I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you so much.